Hi all, Charles here. In this video I'm going to be demonstrating a blanket stitch. As the name would suggest, the blanket stitch is often used to finish the edges of blankets. It can also be used to hem jackets and a variety of other decorative applications. So in front of me, as you can see, I have my materials laid out. I have the fabric I'm going to be demonstrating on, my thread. I'm using red in this case just so it's more visible for the camera, and my thread snips. I already went ahead and threaded my needle. It's double threaded and the end is knotted. You could start this stitch with a back stitch if you choose. The knot in this case is just a little quicker and a little easier. And the fabric that I'm using is folded. This is to imitate the hem of a jacket. So the way that I'm going to be using the blanket stitch in this demonstration is the way that you would use it when hemming a jacket. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the edge here where my hem would be, and I'm going to go in just on the top layer about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to pull it through just to the knot there, and I can go ahead and hide the tail under that fabric so no one has to see it. And I'm going to come down here about 3/8 of an inch, or about where the fabric overlaps. I'm going to come back up right to that 3/8 of an inch point where I came through previously. And I'm going to pull my thread taut. And what you can see is I have a little sort of initial stitch there. And this is what makes, the next step is what makes a blanket stitch pretty unique. What I'm going to do is come about an inch over and actually do the same stitch that I did before, but this time I'm going to make sure that I come up on top of that thread. And what that's going to do is lock that thread in place under the thread that I'm now working with. So you can see you have this line sort of jumping between each stitch. In this case, we're doing about an inch. You can do really any length. An inch is just more visible for the camera. So I'm going to pull that thread moderately taut, not too taut. That might cause the fabric to buckle. And I'm going to come over again about an inch. Grab the fabric and come up about 3/8 of an inch there. Again, making sure that I'm pulling over the previous thread. So you can see I have another one of those locked little rectangles there. And you can just continue this all the way along the edge here, as I'm going to in just a moment. And that will effectively lock this piece, or the hem of the fabric, in place on the face fabric there. If it's a little easier to visualize this, you can see it as sort of like a loop. So when I come up here, you can see that my thread makes a loop, and I'm going to be coming up inside that loop. That is the actual loop that you're forming when you pull the thread taut. So now I'm going to continue this again through that loop. I'm pulling it taut. And I'm going to go ahead and sort of speed through the rest of this just to demonstrate sort of the pace that I would be working at. Excuse me if I'm a little shaky. I've had a lot of coffee to drink today, but hopefully it won't affect my stitches too much. You can see I'm getting a little less than consistent with my stitches here, but thankfully this is just a demonstration. I don't have to go back and redo anything. All right, and now that we're reaching the end of the section that we're going to be sewing, what I'm going to do, sort of sneak back under here, just to lock that top thread in place. And I can come back in and make a sneaky little knot to hide the end of my thread. You can just tuck the tail back under the hem and no one will know. So there you go, that's our blanket stitch. From the other side you can see where I came up through that outer fabric. And as I said, in this case, this is the way that you'll be using the blanket stitch to finish the hem of a jacket. You can achieve a really interesting effect on the edge of a piece of fabric, letting this line sort of being the guiding edge. But there you go. That is our blanket stitch, and thanks for watching.